Hey guys, I hope you're all well. Today we will start to see a new story called The New Demon King is the Son of Goku. A story that will take place after the movie Dragon Ball Super Super Hero, where Piccolo and Gohan already have their new transformations, in addition to Goku already having control of Ultra Superior Perfect, and Vegeta with his superior ego. In addition to this story, there will be some elements of Super Dragon Ball heroes, so let's begin the story of the Son of Goku. Well, having said all that, I think you leave a lot of likes and comments if you want the continuation of this story. After all that, grab your popcorn and your Coke and let's see this incredible story. It has been about a year since the Tournament of Power and a few months after the battle between Goku and Vegeta, who had merged to face Frieza in his black form. After all these events, the land was safe once more, but there was one thing that could break the peace. In Universe 6. Currently in the 6th universe, it was possible to see Vados and Anya, who was responsible for caring for guiding the Champa god of destruction of his universe. But one thing was different with Anya, as she was never one to be very sentimental. But there was a being, a warrior who had awakened her feminine desire, being Son Goku, the strongest warrior in the 7th universe. Vados thought, since the day of the Tournament of Power, I can't stop thinking about Son Goku. I've never felt this way before in all my thousands of years. But for the first time in my life, I think I'm feeling what the mortals call it passion or love. That's weird, but not in a bad way, but in a good way, thought the Anja as she sat in front of the lake of the God of Destruction's planet, as she was alone while Champa was sleeping. Vados continues, but even though I feel all this for him, I know that I can never have him by my side, because he is married and lives in another universe. The Anja thought in a kind of depressive tone, just thinking that she could never be by her side, the man she loves. While the Anja had some thoughts about everything, mainly Son Goku, she ends up hearing a voice as low as a whisper, with an idea that could make her happy, even if she can't keep Goku by her side. The mysterious voice whispered, even if you can't have this mortal by your side, you could have a child with him, couldn't you? It would make you stand by his side indirectly or simply have a part of him. By your side, forever, whispered the mysterious voice in Vados' ear, who upon hearing such words quickly turned around and looked around, but didn't see anyone, and even closing her eyes, Vados did not sanctify the presence of anyone on the planet of Champa other than his own presence and that of Lord Champa. Vados said, but what was that? Whose voice will this be? No, I think that voice was in my head. I can only be going crazy, said to Anja, trying to feel the presence of someone on the planet of Champa, but can't find anything. After seeing that there was no one on the planet on the God of Destruction, Vados returned to sit on the edge of the lake, but even Vados thought that the mysterious voice was something in her head. She began to reflect on those words. Vados thought, having a child with Son Goku, if I had a child with him, I wouldn't feel this way, and I would kind of have Goku by my side, even though it's not him himself. But how could I have a child with Goku? I don't think he would betray his wife to be with me, thought the Anja as she looked at the crystal clear lake, and soon had a brilliant idea of how she could have a child with Goku without him having to betray his wife. Vados said, that's it. I have a way of having a child with Goku without having to do the mating act with him, and that way it wouldn't be a betrayal. But for that, I'm going to need the help of my brother Whis, and he will help me anyway. The Anja said excitedly, determined and slightly annoyed at the thought of her brother, because she didn't know whether or not he would help her, as Whis had a debt with Vados, a debt that she could collect at that very moment. Vados said, I will immediately go after my brother, but first I have to wake up Mr. Champa and convince him to go to the 7th universe. In reality, this is very easy. Just say that we will go to the 7th universe, and there, he can eat the Earthling's food, and then he'll get up quickly. He spoke to the Anja with a huge smile on his face, just thinking that in a short time she could have a child with her beloved Goku. Already decided on what she was going to do at that moment, Vados got up with a huge smile on her face and went towards where Champa was sleeping, but something she didn't realize was that there was a being in the shadows of the forest on the planet of Champa that was watching at Vados at all times. The mysterious being thought, the master was right. And Anja, the strongest being in each universe, is in love with a mortal and is now interested in having a baby with him. That's great, because this child will be responsible for freeing all the beings from my race, and maybe that child will be our new king, thought the mysterious being who was wearing a black cloak that covered almost his entire body. But it was possible to see some traces of that mysterious being, who apparently had a bluish skin just like an angel, only had some red marks on his arm. The mysterious being said, Well, now that my mission has been planted from Vados, having the desire to have a child with a mortal being, the one who was the only one to possess the power of Ultra Instinct, has been completed. It's time for me to go back. I don't want that the Anja come out of her happy state and find me," said the mysterious being, soon turning and leaving. But before he entered the portal created by himself, he ended up seeing a fish inside a kind of staff with water. The mysterious being thought, "Is that a fish over there? Yes, it's him. The fish is responsible for making prophecies, and his expression must be an important thing. Let's see what he has to say," "Ha ha ha ha," said the mysterious being, closing the portal. And with his hand, he made a black smoke that ended up transforming into the appearance of Vados, who soon approached the fish. Clone of Vados said, "What was fish? Why do you have that face? Do you have something important to tell me?" The clone of Vados asked the fish, that couldn't distinguish whether or not the one in front of him was the original Vados, but he didn't even try to find out, as he was too rushed and scared. The fish said, "Miss Vados, I'm glad I found you. I saw a new prophecy, and it said that the lady would give birth to a warrior who would have such great strength that he would be able to defeat all the gods of destruction, and even some angels that got in his way. And otherwise, he would be responsible for the death of his father, the Daishinkan, and those who are important to him. And yet, there is something much worse." The fish spoke quickly, making it gasp. The clone of Vados said, "Wow, more than a tragedy? This is really worrying. But did you say that there is something even worse than all this? What could this tragic thing be?" The clone of Vados spoke in a worried tone for the fish to suspect nothing. The fish said, "The worst of all is that your son will also be responsible for breaking the seal of the world of demons, freeing all of them, and how he will become the new king of demons," said the fish, finishing his prophecy, making the Vados clone not hold back, and gave a smile upon hearing such words. The mysterious being spoke. "This is indeed a wonderful prophecy," said the mysterious being, coming out of the forest, and seeing that the fish looked at Vados, who just held him so the fish wouldn't run away from that place. The fish said, "You are not the real Vados. You are a clone made by this being." "No, you are a clone created by this demon," said the fish, while looking at the mysterious being that belonged to the demon race. The mysterious being said, "Congratulations, you are right. I am the demon Mikio, the one responsible for bringing the demons back to this world and breaking the seal of the demon world, and other than that, I am responsible for putting the idea in Vados' head to have a child with Goku in the Anja's mind, and she will give birth to a kind being, but in reality, this son of Vados will be the new demon king, and that's even ironic, don't you think? An angel giving birth to the next demon king. Ha ha ha," said the demon, revealing his name and his true intentions to the fish at that moment, who was trembling with fear with the whole situation. The clone of Vados said, "And don't think about trying to call the original Vados. She is no longer on this planet," as she was so excited that she quickly went to Universe 7, said the clone of Vados, who had a smile on his face, one that was making the fish more afraid. Mikio said, "I should kill you before I find a way to alert the god of destruction or Vados itself. But I have another plan, and you will be very useful in it," ha ha ha, said the demon, soon taking the fish and putting it on his back, then opening a portal. And then the demon, who had the fish in his hands, crossed the portal that soon closed. In Universe 7. Currently in Universe 7, it was possible to see two people fighting each other, with the two warriors being Goku and Vegeta, who were in their base forms in a training combat that Whis had ordered both of them to do so. He would know what the level was of strength of both of the warriors. Whis said, "Mr. Goku and Mr. Vegeta have really become very strong. I remember the first time I saw the two of them facing each other, and I see that today they have improved a lot, and their base form is now stronger than before. In fact, I would say that the level of both of their base forms are as strong as their Super Saiyan 2 forms of old," said the angel as he watched the training between both of the Saiyan warriors, while he and Beerus ate a lunchbox made by Bulma, who also prepared a kind of drink for them. Beerus said, "I agree. The current level of the two, they would be able to withstand some of my blows without ending up passing out, unlike the old version of them that I only needed a few moves to defeat the two," said the god of destruction, not paying attention to his drink, and then looking at the two Saiyans who had turned into a Super Saiyan in training, and soon Beerus goes back to drinking his drink. Whis said, "True, they are both much stronger than when we met them, and it's not just them who are getting stronger. From what I've heard, the eldest son of Mr. Goku, Mr. Gohan, ended up gaining a new transformation, which is equivalent to the power of Mr. Goku, using the power of Ultra Instinct. And of course I can't forget Mr. Vegeta's superior ego. Gohan's new transformation is also equivalent to superior ego. The angel spoke excitedly as he remembered Gohan's demonstration of power with his new transformation during Cell Max's battle. Beerus said, "Yes, I know. And from what I remember, Piccolo also gained a new transformation, using the Dragon Balls for the first time. Shenron is being useful for something necessary." Beerus spoke with a small smile on his face. Whis said, "Goku, Vegeta, Broly, Piccolo, and Gohan. These are the names of the strongest warriors in our universe currently. Apart from that, there is also Frieza, but he's currently dead, and who killed him was Gogeta using that mixture of power, Ultra Instinct, and higher ego," said the angel while looking at Beerus, who only widened his smile, except for the part that Whis spoke of Frieza, which made Beerus have an expression of disgust and repulsion. Beerus said, "Don't mention the name of that worm, Whis, but you're right. If a new tournament of power happens in a few years, I'm sure we will win the tournament, because the powers of our warriors are much stronger than at the time of the tournament, and playing by the level of the warriors that we saw at that time, I would say that our universe would be able to beat them all, and even Jiren would not be able to beat any of our warriors." The god of destruction spoke while showing a huge smile on his face, showing his joy at possessing mortals with such a great power level. Whis said, "If they had the same fighting power back then only one of our 5 warriors I mentioned could beat all the warriors in the tournament of power. And it wouldn't be too difficult for Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Gohan, or Broly to do that," said the angel while stating that only one of the warriors he had spoken of before would be able to beat all the other warriors who participated in the ancient tournament of power. Beerus said, "I totally agree, and to guarantee this they must train more every day and become even stronger than they already are." The god of destruction spoke while looking at his angel, who was still eating while looking at the training battle of the Saiyajins, who were currently using their Super Saiyan blue forms. The conversation between Whis and Beerus continued along with the battle between Goku and Vegeta that was becoming more intense, and this was possible to see when Goku and Vegeta separated and both began to release a lot of energy. And after releasing all that energy, both the Saiyans were in their strongest transformations, with Goku now using the power of Ultra Instinct and Vegeta using the power of Superior Ego. Vegeta said, "Now the battle will really begin, Kakarot," alerted the Prince of Saiyans in his strongest form, where it was possible to see Vegeta with some injuries on his body. Goku said, "I say the same, Vegeta. Let's fight for real," said the Saiyan with the power of Ultra Instinct activated, who had some injuries on his body just like Vegeta's. And soon both Saiyans disappear, leaving only a small amount of dust in the place where they were previously, and soon the two Saiyans appear panting, and soon the two exchange a punch that was able to make lightning fall to the ground around the two without stopping. The training had created a crater because of the force of the impact of the blows that created great pressure in the wind that ended up cutting in half some of the trees close to them. After the first exchange of punches between the Saiyans, both separated and soon will face each other again, thus starting an exchange of punches and very violent kicks between the Saiyans, since their blows destroyed everything around. And not to destroy the planet of the god of destruction, Goku and Vegeta engaged in an aerial battle. The two Saiyans started exchanging melee blows, with Goku's blows being faster, and he was able to dodge many of Vegeta's blows because of the power of Ultra Instinct, and Vegeta had greater strength and greater physical resistance than Goku. Other than that, Vegeta had an immunity to ki attacks because of the aura of destruction around him that made ki blows useless. But Goku managed to hit Vegeta using the same technique Vegeta used during the Tournament of Power. Whis thought, these two are on another level of power, and being honest, Vegeta will have great potential to become the future God of Destruction after Beerus is killed, or just doesn't want the position of God of Destruction anymore, thought the angel as he watched the battle of Goku and Vegeta, being their focus. Vegeta, who could be the next God of Destruction? While Whis and Beerus were looking at the battle between Goku and Vegeta, a large pillar of energy appeared in the middle of Beerus' planet, and such a thing caused the battle between Goku and Vegeta to end, and everyone looked at the pillar of energy, which soon disappeared, and in it was now Vados and Champa, who was having some kind of drink. Vados said, "Good morning, my dear brother." "Whis, I came to talk to you," said the angel to Whis before looking at the sky and seeing that there was Goku using his power of Ultra Instinct, while and his top clothes it was completely ripped, giving a good view of the Saiyan's well-defined muscles, something that ended up causing Vados to look up without taking her eyes away. Whis said, "What are you talking about, my sister?" asked the angel approaching his sister. Vados said, "I came to talk to you about a private matter, just you and I," Vados said while her brother was finding it strange the way his sister was talking and especially why she was looking up, something that was not normal to the angels. Champa said, "Hey Beerus, what are you eating there?" Universe 6's God of Destruction asked while looking at his twin brother. Beerus said, "I'm eating instant noodles, a quick and easy food to prepare. There's another one here, you can get it." The God of Destruction spoke, offering some instant noodles to Champa, who soon started eating happily. Champa said, "Hey you two, keep this fight going. I want to know how strong you are. If you're really strong, I'll make the Saiyans of my world train to overcome you. Ha ha ha." The God of Destruction of Universe 6 spoke while looking at Goku and Vegeta, who soon faced each other again. Further away from the place of the fight between the two Saiyans, Whis said, "So, my sister, what do you want to talk to me about?" asked the angel to her twin sister, who was thoughtful, but Vados got up, the courage to speak what she was feeling and thinking at this time to Whis. Vados said, "Whis, my brother, after the Tournament of Power, I started to arouse feelings for a warrior who had fought in the Tournament of Power, and as I know he already has a wife and he would not abandon her to stay with me, I would like to have one, his son, only without having to mate with him like mortals do," said the angel while looking at her brother, who was very surprised by that. Whis said, "This is a surprise. I never thought that one day you would fall in love with someone, even more wanting to have a child of this mortal. But if that's what you want, I won't go against your decision. So who is this warrior who has attracted your attention, my dear sister?" The angel spoke in an understanding tone, and at the same time happy that his sister was happy and decided by her own choice. Vados said, "The warrior is Son Goku," revealed the angel as she looked at her brother, who now had his hand over his mouth because of the surprise to learn that the strongest mortal in his universe had won his twin sister's heart. In Universe 7, currently still in the 7th universe, in a more distant and reserved place, it was possible to see Vados and Whis talking, and Whis was still in shock to discover that his twin sister was in love with Son Goku, who is the strongest warrior in his universe today. Whis said, "Vados, are you in love with Lord Goku? How did this happen?" asked the angel while looking at his sister, who was very embarrassed while talking to her brother. Vados said, "Yes, my brother, I'm in love with Son Goku. I don't know how exactly I started to like him. I just remember that when I saw him at the tournament, I felt a strange thing inside me, and seeing him fighting with all his strength during the tournament, I saw him fighting because of his friends and managing to overcome his own limits, even managing to use the power of Ultra Instinct. It only made this thing inside me grow even more," said the angel as she placed her hands on her chest where her heart would be. Whis said, "So you've been feeling this love for Son Goku since then? You should have told me before, my sister, and I could talk to you at the time and help you with your feelings. And even I, though I want to support you, Son Goku is faithful to his wife and would not abandon her to be with you. So you having his son wouldn't be something he could help you with," said the angel while watching his sister, who just looked down out of shame and embarrassment. Vados said, "I know that, my brother, and because of that I know that there is a way for me to have a child without the need to mate with Son Goku, and I could use the pretext that it is to help the Saiyans to continue their lineage, and how he is very strong. His children in the future would be as strong as he is, and as this child would be my son too, he would have the blood of angels in his DNA, and in the future, he could be the next God of Destruction of my universe," said the angel while looking at his brother, who now had one of his hands on his chin, showing that he was thinking a lot about that proposal his sister was making. Whis said, "It would be a bad deal if you had Goku's son. He would have the lineage of a Saiyan, and he would also have the lineage of angels. And with all that, he would be the strongest in the 6th universe. And if he turns around the next God of Destruction, he would probably be the strongest God of Destruction in all universes, both of this generation and the old ones as well," said the angel while watching his sister, who upon hearing Whis' words, she gave a smile. Vados said, "So you're going to help me try to convince Goku to have a baby with me?" said the angel while looking at her brother, who soon let out a sigh. Whis said, "Yes, my sister, I'll help you convince Son Goku. But you know that if he's smart enough, he'll ask his wife permission. And I'm sure ChiChi won't allow you to have it. Son Goku's son, and if she doesn't let you have a son with Goku, you have to promise me that you'll get this idea out of your head. Are we understood? Vados said, "It's okay, Whis. If Son Goku's wife doesn't accept this idea, I won't insist on this idea anymore. But I'm sure she'll give me permission. If I have Goku's son, after all, I won't have relations with Goku like mortals do. So I don't think she's going to complain too much about my idea," said Vados, super confident that she would make Goku's wife let her have a child with the Saiyan. Whis thought, "It's everything that happened lately, but I hope nothing bad happens this time, because a child with the Saiyan bloodline and the angel bloodline will create a real monster that can even defeat the other angels. I sincerely hope that doesn't happen, or that ChiChi doesn't accept this idea as it's too risky, but now it depends on Goku and his wife's decision," thought the angel as she walked beside his sister. He was with a huge smile on his face. Whis thought, "I hope that your happiness doesn't end up creating a monster accidentally, my sister, because if this child is born, she will be a being that can oppose our father, and even be on the same level as the king of demons, who is still sealed in the world from the demons. And I hope it stays there for the rest of eternity," thought the angel, already imagining the strength his nephew could have, one that could end up destroying all universes. A few minutes ago, while Whis and Vados were talking in a more secluded spot for privacy, Champa and Beerus were eating while watching the battle between Goku and Vegeta, who are already using their powers to the fullest. Beerus said, "And then Champa, look at the power of my strongest Saiyans. Do you think your Saiyans are strong enough to last even a few minutes against my warriors?" asked the god of destruction of Universe 7 in a tone of arrogance and pride to his twin brother beside him. Champa said, "They are strong, but not strong enough to defeat my Saiyans. Caulifla, Kaba, and Kale are thousands of times stronger than at the time of the Tournament of Power. And in the next tournament that happens, we will be the winners. And I say that with all my strength." Universe 6's god of destruction spoke while looking at his brother, who was just laughing at his brother's speech. But soon both ended up shutting up when they felt a huge amount of energy being released. And that energy came from Goku and Vegeta, who had turned that training battle into a mortal battle. And both were taking the battle so seriously that they were trying to kill each other. At that moment, in the sky it was possible to see Goku, who after raising his power ended up creating an avatar of himself made of pure energy. And Vegeta also had an avatar on his back, and his was a giant ape made of the energy of the Saiyan Prince's destruction. And soon the battle between the two Saiyans with their avatars started. The both began to fight for strength, until Vegeta, using his avatar's tail, holds the leg of Goku's avatar and pulls it, making him lose the contest of strength and balance. And seeing this, Vegeta punches Goku in the face, causing him to fall to the ground. Seeing Goku's avatar on the ground, Vegeta jumps up and falls on top of Goku and starts to give him several blows. But Goku manages to defend himself using his arms until in a moment Vegeta let his guard down and Goku punched the avatar in the face. From Vegeta, and then immediately fired a beam of energy into Goku's chest, throwing him away. And then Goku got up and advanced towards Vegeta, who got up and did the same thing. Soon the two avatars of both Saiyans banged their fists, creating a great pressure in the air, destroying almost half of the forest on Beerus's planet. And soon the two avatars continued their attacks against each other. Vegeta wanted to repeat his attack again, using his tail to try to hold the leg of Goku's avatar. Goku, already knowing this one, he managed to grab Vegeta's avatar's tail and started to spin it like a pawn. And with such action ended up creating a mini tornado that ended when Goku threw Vegeta away, making the prince's avatar for the Saiyans fall on the planet of the god of destruction. Soon Vegeta's avatar got up in a rage and concentrated his power of destruction in his mouth, and seeing that Goku's avatar concentrated his energy in his hands, creating his Kamehameha. And soon both Saiyans fired their ki attacks that soon collided, creating a huge explosion of energy that ended up being sent in the direction of Beerus and Champa. And when they would get up to defend themselves, Whis and Vados appeared in front of both and created a barrier defending both gods of destruction. Whis said, "This battle is getting pretty serious, so it's time to end it," said the angel, soon disappearing and appearing again in front of the two avatars, and with a mere wave of his hands, the two avatars disappeared, and Goku and Vegeta ended up returning to their base forms. Goku said, "Sorry, Whis, we were taking this training too seriously, and we ended up destroying a large part of the planet. said the Saiyan while looking at Whis and scratching the back of his head as he approached the angel along with Vegeta, who had his arms crossed with half of your torn clothes. Whis said, "Well, I can fix the planet quickly, and after that my sister has something important to ask you, Goku," said the angel, soon making his staff shine, and soon the planet of the god of destruction that had been destroyed was returned to normal. Whis said, "Now that I fixed the damage you two caused, it's time for you to say what you have to say, Vados," said the angel while looking at his sister, and then at the two gods of destruction who were close to the two Saiyans. Vados said, "What I want to ask, and for Son Goku, it's a favor. I want to ask your permission to have a child with you," said the angel while stuttering a little, and then made her wish to Goku. Everyone in the room except Whis said, "What?" Spoke both the Saiyans and both the god of destructions, who were on the spot amazed by the request of Vados, who had her head down in shame as she looked at Goku. The Universe 7th God of Destruction planet. Currently on Beerus's planet, it was possible to see everyone gathered, and everyone in the place apart from Whis was very surprised and shocked by the request of the Angel of the 6th Universe. Champa said, "What did you mean, Vados? Do you want to have a child with that Saiyan?" Universe 6's God of Destruction spoke while looking at Vados, who had his head down at the moment. Vados said, "Yes, Sir Champa. I wish to have a child with the Saiyan of the 7th Universe, Son Goku," spoke the angel, determined while looking at the God of Destruction of her universe, and then looking at Goku, who was not understanding anything at that moment. Goku said, "What do you mean to have my child? I already have two children, Gohan and Goten, who are my children with my wife ChiChi." The Saiyan spoke quickly while looking at Vados, who was looking at him the whole time with a small smile on his face and cheeks rosy. Vegeta said, "For the first time, I have to say that Kakarot is saying something intelligent. That's a great miracle," said Vegeta next to Goku, who just ignored his rival's comments because he was too focused on Vados' words. Whis said, "Wait a bit, before giving your final decision, Goku. My sister wants to tell you why she wants to have a child of yours," said the angel, making Goku calmer, and everyone in the place pay attention to Vados and Champa's words. Was the person who most wanted to know why his Anja wanted to have a child, and why it had to be Son Goku, who is from his twin brother's universe. Champa spoke. "Then speak your motives, Vados." The god of destruction spoke in a serious tone as he looked at his angel, who gave a heavy sigh before starting her speech. Vados said, "My reasons for wanting to have a child with the Saiyan Son Goku are very simple. First, he made me feel something different inside me since the day of the tournament between Universe 6 and 7. After that, I felt different, and it made me want to be closer to Goku. But as we are from different universes, that would be impossible for me," spoke the angel, starting to tell exactly why she felt about Goku the way she did, who was a little confused by her words. Goku thought, did she feel a little weird because of me, and did something inside her change? Was she just not hungry? Thought the Saiyan with his classic innocence, one that Vegeta realized very well just by looking at Goku's face. Vegeta said, "In short, since the day of the tournament between the 6th and 7th universe, do you feel different about Kakarot?" In short, Vados ended up falling in love with this idiot here. "My condolences." The Prince of the Saiyans spoke in a serious and comical way, at the same time getting some laughs from Whis and Beerus. Goku said, "Hey Vegeta, I can even be considered stupid, but I'm very faithful to ChiChi, and I would never betray her with anyone," said the Saiyan in a serious tone, leaving many in the place surprised by the Saiyan's speech. Goku said, "And for that same reason, I can't have my child with Vados. Even if I felt the same way you felt for me, I still couldn't stay with you, because I'm married to ChiChi, and I have two children with her, who most of the time I was not present in their lives for, and I would not like to have another child who is not close to me, and for that I apologize for not being able to fulfill your wish." The Saiyan spoke in a way quick and respectful, trying hard not to be rude. Vados thought, "Really, this ChiChi person is very lucky to have Goku as her husband," thought the Anja, giving a little smile, but she was sad, and soon she got more an excited smile. Vados said, "I understand, but I would like to have a child with you. There is another reason, besides liking you, which would be for him to be the next god of destruction of Universe 6, said the angel while looking at everyone in the place, who was surprised, mainly Champa, who was shocked to find out about his angel's plan. Champa said, "Wait, what do you mean? Do you want to have a child with the Saiyan so that child will be the next god of destruction in my Universe 6? "You're trying to kill me, woman!" Universe 6's God of Destruction spoke, slightly annoyed as he looked at his angel, who ended up letting out a small, embarrassed laugh. Beerus said, "Having a son who has the lineage of Saiyans and the angels at the same time would generate a very powerful being, and would make a really great God of Destruction, and would be a great substitute for Champa. After all, to be a God of Destruction better than Champa just needs to get out of bed and stop eating so much food. Ha 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 ha!" The God of Destruction of Universe 7 spoke while playing with his twin brother's face, who ended up getting very angry with him. Whis said, "If that's why, then I think that Mr. Beerus dies, Vegeta will be a great God of Destruction, and for that, he just needs to stay awake and not stay asleep for almost 100 straight years," said the angel while laughing and looking at Beerus's face, who looked annoyed and embarrassed at the same time. Vegeta thought, "When Mr. Beerus dies, I will be the new God of Destruction. From Prince of Saiyans to God of Destruction. Ha ha ha! Who knew that someday I would achieve a power like that in such a high-level title?" thought the Prince of Saiyans with a small smile in the corner of his face. Beerus said, "Hey, Vegeta, wipe that little smile off your face, because it's going to take a long time to die, and until then, you won't be the God of Destruction of the 7th universe. And in fact, I completely support Vados having a son of Goku so he can replace Champa in the future," said Beerus while giving some shouts and looking at Vegeta and then at Vados and Goku, who had his arms crossed. Goku said, "Look, I think this is a good reason for me to have a child with Vados, but on my wedding day, I promised all my friends, and especially ChiChi, that I would never cheat on her with any woman. And that promise I will keep until the end of time," spoke the Saiyan, determined to keep his promise that he had made to his wife in front of his best friends and those considered his family. Whis said, "I have a suggestion to solve this problem. How about Vados talk to ChiChi, and if she gives permission for Vados to have a child with Goku, then that in itself would not be a betrayal," said the angel, offering a way to solve this problem of your sister with the strongest Saiyan in your universe currently. Goku said, "Well, if ChiChi gives me permission, then I think it would be okay, even though I think she won't allow it. But if you still want to try asking ChiChi, then Vados, I don't mind," the Saiyan said while looking at Vados, who gained a huge smile on her face because of her happiness and excitement at knowing that she would be able to have Goku's child. Vados said, "Of course, I agree to talk to this ChiChi, but first I think you two better wear something, especially you, Goku," the angel said with shame as she looked at the Saiyan in front of her. Her focus was on Goku, who was almost completely naked, with only a piece of pants around his waist because of the training he was doing. Goku said, "Really? Whis, could you make us some clothes? I don't want ChiChi to see me this way, because otherwise I won't be able to eat at home properly, and I'll end up sleeping on the floor or outside," the Saiyan said while scratching the back of his neck and having a few laughs. Whis said, "It's okay," said the angel, soon creating some clothes for the Saiyans, and the two then went to a corner and started getting dressed. Vados thought, "I know it's wrong to have to appeal to something like this, but I really want to have this child, and if I have to lie about it, I will," thought the angel as she looked at Goku, who was already fully dressed. Beerus said, "Well, now that you're done talking, let's go to planet Earth to solve this problem for you two, and I'll be able to eat some goodies that only Bulma knows how to make." The God of Destruction of Universe 7 spoke, with a smile on his face, just imagining the sweets he could eat on planet Earth, and soon everyone who was in the place disappeared in a pillar of rainbow energy. On planet Earth. Currently on planet Earth, more precisely at Goku's house, it was possible to see Gohan and his family at the place, who was spending a pleasant family day, being more precise with his mother and younger brother, as Goku was training on Beerus' planet. While ChiChi and Videl, who is Gohan's wife, were preparing lunch for their family, and meanwhile Gohan, Goten, and Pan, his daughter, were doing a training, and in this training Gohan was facing his brother. Goten, while Pan was sitting in a chair watching the battle between her father and her uncle. Looking at that training, it was possible to see in Pan's face that she was very impressed with the strength of her father and her uncle. Gohan and Goten, who were in the air exchanging some blows, some of which Gohan managed to dodge, and the others barely affected Gohan, as he was much stronger after the battle he had against Cell Max. When the Saiyan ended up reaching a level of fury, and his transformation of Gohan made him as strong as his father, using the power of Ultra Instinct, and Vegeta using the power of Superior Ego. Goten, seeing that his attacks were very slow and weak compared to his older brother, who was not fighting seriously, So Goten, to try to match his brother, he transforms into Super Saiyan and advances towards Gohan, who was still in his base form, and did the same thing, advancing towards Goten, who was coming towards him, transformed into Super Saiyan 1. Soon the two Saiyans ended up colliding in the air and then both distanced themselves at the same time, and soon returned to exchanging blows. And now Goten was managing to hit his older brother more, who even receiving the attacks could defend him, and taking advantage of the moment of careless, Gohan hits him with a punch in the center of his abdomen, causing Goten to distance himself because of the pain. Gohan, seeing that his brother still hadn't recovered from his previous blow, he suddenly disappeared and reappeared on top of Goten and made an attack with both hands, causing Goten to hit the ground hard, creating a small crater that ended up dragging a few meters. Pan said, "Wow, my father is very powerful, and so is Uncle Goten. But still, my father is stronger, ha ha ha," said Gohan's daughter, while looking at the battle between her uncle and her father. Videl said, "Looks like they're having a lot of fun, this battle of yours. But now it's time for it to end, because the food is ready," said Gohan's wife, approaching the table where her daughter Pan and her mother-in-law ChiChi was, who soon got up from the table. ChiChi said, "Gohan, Goten, come down right now. Lunch is ready, so come and eat," said ChiChi, shouting to both of her children, who upon hearing their mother's voice soon descended. Goten said, "You are much stronger than before, brother. That blow of yours hurt a lot. If I hadn't transformed, I would probably have some broken bones," said the younger Saiyan while looking at his mother. Gohan said, "Sorry, I ended up exaggerating a bit when you turned Super Saiyan. But anyway, now that lunch is ready, let's wash our hands and let's eat. Okay, Pan?" said the Saiyan while looking at his daughter, who soon began to fly, until it was at the height of his chest, and then Gohan took his daughter and put it on his back. Pan said, "Yes, Daddy," Pan said with a smile on her face, and soon the whole family washed their hands and went to eat. Soon it was possible to see the whole family except Goku and Vegeta. They were not at the table, but soon the family conversation is interrupted when a pillar of energy with several different colors appeared, and soon Gohan and Goten were in a fighting posture ready to fight at once. Any time. But soon they both became more relaxed when they saw Goku, Vegeta, Beerus, Whis, Vados, and Champa coming out of that pillar, and soon disappeared from that place. Gohan and Goten said, "Daddy?" Both Saiyans spoke as they saw Goku coming out of the pillar of energy together with the two gods of destruction, who were accompanied by their respective angels. Goku said, "Hi Gohan, hi Goten. Sorry for the delay. And I'm sorry, ChiChi, for taking so long. I ended up getting carried away when training with Vegeta, and I ended up losing track of time," said the Saiyan, apologizing to his wife, who just sighed, looking at her husband that never changed no matter how much time passed. ChiChi said, "Okay, after all, I know you always get carried away because of your training, but I would like to know, why are they here? Not wanting to complain or anything like that, but this is supposed to be a family lunch, and you're kind of not part of it," the woman said as she looked at her husband and then looked at Vados and Champa. Whis said, "1,000 apologies for interrupting your family lunch, and we're leaving. But before that, my sister has something to talk to you, ma'am, ChiChi, and that's very important," Whis said while looking at the wife of Goku, who ended up getting a little curious about what the angel would like to talk to her about. ChiChi said, "Talk to me? Okay. But if it's something that Goku did, don't worry, because I'm gonna give him a good scolding," said the woman in a serious tone while looking at her husband, who was already at the table putting his food on the plate, but when he felt his wife's aura directed towards him, he felt a shiver down his spine. Goku said, "I didn't do anything this time, ChiChi. The only thing I did was destroy more moons that were around Mr. Beerus' planet. But Whis already fixed it, so there's no problem," said the Saiyan, looking at his wife, who soon heaved a sigh and looked at Vados. ChiChi spoke, "You must be Vados, right? So let's talk in a more secluded place. Then let's enter my house." Soon Vados entered the house so they could talk. Inside Goku and ChiChi's house. Inside the Saiyan and his family house, it was possible to see ChiChi and Vados going to the living room and each of them sitting opposite each other. ChiChi spoke. "So what do you want, Vados?" asked the woman while looking at Vados, who ended up gathering all her courage to be able to talk to ChiChi. Vados said, "Look, what I'm going to say to you may be very nosy and a very wrong request on my part, but it's necessary. I would like to ask your permission to have a child with Son Goku," spoke the angel, gathering her courage and making her request to ChiChi, who previously had a sip of coffee in her hand, that soon fell on the floor upon hearing Vados' request. ChiChi said, "What? What kind of request is this?" said ChiChi in a higher tone, making some people outside hear her scream, which made Goku get scared. Vados spoke. "Before you give me your final answer, please listen to me. I'm an angel just like Whis, but I'm from the 6th universe, and in him, the fish that is a kind of prophet ended up giving a prophecy where he said that the 6th universe would be destroyed. But there was a chance my universe would survive, and the one who would be able to prevent the destruction of the 6th universe would be the child born of an angel along with a Saiyan, whose would be the strongest, and he is here, in this universe, of a brother that would be in the 7th universe," said the angel while looking at ChiChi, who now had a different expression on her face, one of astonishment, knowing that an entire universe would be destroyed, and many lives would be lost. ChiChi said, "And since this is the 7th universe, the universe twin to Universe 6. So the strongest Saiyan in this universe would have to have a child with the angel of the 6th universe, and that Saiyan would be Goku, and the angel would be you? Let me see if I understand. If you don't have a child with Goku, your universe will be destroyed, and with that many lives will be lost?" said ChiChi while looking at Vados. Vados said, "That's right. If I don't have a child with Son Goku, my universe will be dead. So I weigh that. You allow me to have a child with Son Goku," said the angel while looking at Goku's wife, who was in his forward with a thoughtful expression. ChiChi said, "Okay, I will allow you to have a child with Goku. But as this child is also a child of Goku, he will have to live here on Earth with him, so that Goku learns to be a present father and to be able to train his child. After that, he will be Goku's son in his blood, and it will run in the spirit of always wanting to fight, and Goku will have to prepare this child to save the universe," ChiChi said, allowing her husband to have another child with Vados. Vados said, "Thank you very much. Thank you. I will have a son who will save the universe, and I agree with you that my son will live here on Earth with Goku. But after he stays here for a while, he will return to my universe, and we will do so continuously," spoke the angel, very happy to know that she will be able to have a child with her great love, Goku. Vados thought, "I know that using a lie like that is a very dirty trick, but I want to have this child at all costs, and I know that if I told the truth, I just want to have Son Goku's child because I love him. For sure, ChiChi wouldn't allow it. But now I can have the Saiyan's child that I love," the angel thought as she reflected on her dirty actions with no regrets. In another world. In another world, in a dimension completely different from the dimension where Goku lives with his friends, it was possible to see a landscape completely taken by chaos and flames, possessing an exuberant vegetation of red colors. And that world in question was the world where all the demons inhabit in a dimension that has been sealed long ago by beings opposite to them, the angels, together with the Kaioshians. This was the demon world, and there it was possible to see a huge castle similar to those of the Middle Ages, and that was a castle of the current demon king, Mechikabura, who already had an appearance of a very old man, and in the demon world, he is also known as the elder to younger demons. Mechikabura was inside the castle, more precisely in the throne room, where he was sitting on his throne, bathed in gold with red jewels, studded, and in front of him were two of his subordinates, Towa and Mira, both demons like him who had gifts, fantastic things that could be of great use to the Demon King. Towa said, "What is the reason you have summoned us, Master Mechikabura?" asked the servant of the Demon King, keeping kneeling on the ground with her head down, with Mira both showing respect to their king who was in front of the two. Mechikabura said, "Quite simply, my dear Towa, I finally found a way to break the seal of our world, and finally free us from this dimension once and for all," said the Demon King as he looked at his two servants, who soon raised their heads because of the surprise they got. Mira said, "Is this possible, my king? I thought that only angels could accomplish such a feat, and none of them would join us. So how is that possible?" asked the demon Mira, who looked at her king, who now soon snapped his fingers, and the demon came out of the shadows, this being Mikio, who had in his hands a sphere, where the fish of the 6th universe was. Mechikabura said, "I present to you one of my demons, who have the ability to travel between dimensions and leave the demon world. But as we are sealed in this world, Mikio's power is very low, where he is outside our world," speaking of the Demon King while looking at his two subordinates. Mira spoke, "So he will be the one to set us free by breaking the seal that was placed on our world?" Mira asked while looking at her king, who soon started to explain. Mechikabura spoke, "No, Mikio will not be responsible for breaking the seal on our world. However, he was responsible for implanting the idea of having a baby in the head of one of the angels, known as Vados, the Anja of Universe 6. So could you finish explaining to all of us his results with his Mikio mission? The Demon King said while looking at his other servant who was beside him. Mikio spoke. But of course, Your Majesty. During the time I was looking for a way to break the seal and set our world free, I ended up finding a good way to do this. For me, is to do this, it would not be necessary for me to fight anyone. In reality, I would only need one little persuasion and manipulation, and thus made Vados want to have a child with a mortal named Goku, said the demon while looking at his Mechikabura. While Towa and Mira, Mechikabura's two servants, were already on their feet by orders of their king. Towa said, "But why would an Anja, who is a being of extreme power, being the strongest in her universe, want to have a child with a mortal? And why would she have a child soon with a mortal?" The woman asked as she looked at Mikio, who soon started talking. Mikio said, "Simple, my friend. Vados the Anja, responsible for taking care of the 6th universe, began to fall in love with a mortal named Son Goku. And after seeing her see Goku fight several times and never giving up on her goals, she ended up really falling in love with him. And I, knowing that I put the idea of her having a child with this mortal because he is already married and would not betray his wife to be with her. So a child would be a way for her to be close to her beloved," said the demon Mikio, explaining why Vados, an angel, wanted to have a child with a mortal. Mira said, "That idea you put in Vados' head to have a child was brilliant. There's just one thing I still don't understand. Why did she choose this mortal named Son Goku? And how will this child help us?" Mechikabura said, "That's a good question, Mira. One I look forward to finding out, because I know this angel wouldn't fall in love with just any mortal. So who is this Son Goku, Mikio?" said the Demon King as he looked at Mikio at his side, who only gave a small smile before speaking. Mikio spoke. "Simple, Your Majesty. Son Goku is a mortal who belongs to the Saiyan race, a warrior race that has incredible gifts of evolution, having enormous potential that can reach the level of a god of destruction or even be superior to a Akaishin," said the demon Mikio while looking at the other individuals at that location who were surprised by the Saiyan's potential. Towa said, "Amazing. Having this child by our side, for sure we could leave this world and finally conquer all the universes and kill those damn angels that sealed us," said the woman, admired by the strength that Son Goku boasted, and also in a tone of anger in his last words, because of from the hatred she felt towards the angels. Mikio said, "Yes, but that's not all that Goku can do. Saiyan Son Goku was one of the first, if not the first mortals to be able to master the power of Ultra Instinct, a power that only angels have the ability to master, and even the gods of destruction could not master this technique 100%. But Son Goku succeeded, and that also contributed to Vados liking Goku even more," said the demon Mikio, while looking at the others present at the place who were in shock that a mortal had the ability to master Ultra Instinct in its full phase. Mechikabura spoke. "Is that possible? A mere mortal had the ability to not only use the power of Ultra Instinct and dominate it in its full form?" The Demon King spoke in a higher tone because of his euphoria upon receiving such information. Mikio said, "Yes, Your Majesty. Even Son Goku, being a mere mortal, was able to perform incredible feats, and not only he, but other mortals showed great powers in such a tournament of power, where the strongest fighters of each universe would be, and would face each other to show what the strongest universe that deserved to continue to exist, and only some of the two universes did not participate, as their universes had higher levels of mortals than the others." Mikio spoke while looking at their king, and at Towa and Mira, who were still in shock upon receiving such an unbelievable information. Towa said, "That means that if this Anja really has a child with this mortal named Son Goku, the child born from this union will have a power superior to all the gods of destruction, and even the angels being able to perhaps face the Daishinkan, the high priest, and whoever even knows how to beat him," said Towa, after analyzing all that information he had received and realized that demons may have gotten their hands on a real diamond in the rough. Mira said, "A tournament that brought together several universes in one place? If you were there, could you gather enough energy to break our Mikio seal?" Mikio said, "Absolutely, but unfortunately it cannot interfere in this matter, because if I tried, I would definitely be killed by Xeno-sama or the High Priest," said the demon while looking at Mira, who just clicked her tongue. Mira thought, "I've been trapped in this world for centuries, and I can't have a decent battle with any of these mediocre demons. If I were in this tournament, I could face opponents really worthy of a battle, and I could still gather enough energy to break the seal of the world from demons and deliver all my people. Son Goku, you don't know how much I envy you for being able to participate in a tournament like this, Mira thought as she imagined herself facing Goku, who could make him fight for real. Mechikabura said, "Really splendid. The son of the most powerful mortal that exists with one of the strongest angels that exist. When the child is born, Mikio, you would take Towa for her to teach him and corrupt him and bring him to our side. It should not be very difficult considering that Saiyans are evil beings, driven by their thirst for intense battles, that even led them to death," said the Demon King while looking at Mikio and Towa, who didn't understand why she was chosen by being king. Towa said, "Your Majesty, not questioning your choice. But why soon I have to teach this child and also corrupt him?" asked the woman as she looked at her king, who gave a few laughs. Mechikabura said, "Simple, my dear servant Towa. You are a true beauty among the female demons, and therefore you will not only corrupt and train this child, but make him fall in love with you. Because love is one of the strongest bonds that exists among mortals, and if this hybrid boy falls in love with you, he will never betray us, and who knows, he might even become the next king of demons, and with that you, the queen of demons," spoke the Demon King while looking at his servant, who soon became embarrassed but disgusted. Towa said, "If that's what your majesty wants, then I'll do it," said the woman before kneeling down before her king, who just had a victorious smile on her face. In the world of demons. Currently in the world of demons, it was possible to see Mechikabura in a room with Mikio, who was with the sphere where the fish, the prophet of the sixth universe, was imprisoned. Mikio spoke, "What do you want from me now, Master Mechikabura? Is it something important?" asked the demon Mikio while facing his master, who was drinking a cup of tea, and after drinking the liquid, he just pointed to the chair in front of him, kind of asking Mikio to sit in front of him, and then he sat down. Mechikabura said, "Yes, this is important, Mikio, and it is in his interest. As you well know, I'm already very old, and I'm only still alive because I refuse to die until I find a successor to my throne. And thanks to you, I did. I decided that the son of Vados with the mortal Goku will be my successor," said the Demon King while looking at Mikio, who just raised his eyebrow. Mikio said, "I could say I'm surprised by this fact, but I'm not. When I talked about this child's parents, especially when I said Goku, I noticed that you had a glint in your eyes, one that only I saw when you fought in earnest," said the demon while looking at his master, who just gave a small smile before taking his cup of tea to his mouth once more. Mechikabura spoke, "You know me very well, my dear longtime friend, and since you asked how strong I am and how you know me well, you already know I want you to do it, right?" asked the Demon King while looking at his great friend and also one of the most faithful of his allies. Mikio said, "You want me to take care of him and help him to evolve, but in the shadows, not getting involved directly with him, and just as an idea that I put of Vados having a child, so I should do the same thing with this child. Only other ideas in the boy's mind, helping him to corrupt, and nothing better than killing his own family. What do you think, Mechikabura?" The demon Mikio spoke while looking at his master and friend. Mechikabura said, "I totally agree. To this day, I can remember the day I killed my father and became the new king of demons. And that same day, Mikio, you killed that slut of your mother. And how you eliminated her, it was beautiful. You do her turn into ash, and she disappeared with the wind," spoke the king of demons as he remembers the old times. And soon they both started laughing at various wars they both participated in for no reason they had over centuries. Mikio said, "That was a beautiful day. You became the new king of demons, and I was finally able to eliminate my mother. I could even have done it before, but my father thought she was an important ally. But without father's presence, I was able to eliminate her once and for all. And that way I could get revenge, and even though I was a big fan of my father, he was still a great teacher, and he didn't use me like a guinea pig like my dear mother," Mikio said while looking at his friend that was in front of him. Mechikabura said, "Just like you said, Mikio, I want you to put ideas inside this boy's mind. It doesn't have to be right away. We'll do it with some time. After all, the prey leads to imperfection, and I want my successor to be perfect, the strongest, and at the same time the most merciless," said the Demon King while looking at Mikio, who just had a few laughs. Mikio said, "I totally agree, and I'm even excited to know that I will be responsible for the birth of the next Demon King, and I will be his advisor in everything necessary. And I must admit that your idea of using Towa was surprising." Mechikabura said, "Of all the feelings that a mortal can feel, love is the most dangerous. For it makes a man change his way of thinking, and for a woman, he can do anything. A man who has always fought for justice and always protected others. Weak, but if you fall in love with a woman with an evil heart, that same man who always fought for justice will fight for her, and she will be his justice. She will define what this man should do, and that's why I'm using Toa. She's perfect to do that. And for her it will be a bonus. After all, she will be the future queen of the demons. And with that, she will always have what she wanted, power and freedom next to the new king of the demons. They will be able to conquer all 12 universes, spoke the current king of the demons while showing a huge smile on his face along with Mikio. Mechikabura said, "But I'm curious about one thing. Why are you so confident that the demon king of the future will really be this angel's son? And how are you so sure he will really be our ally?" asked the demon king while looking at his lifelong friend, and soon Mikio took the sphere that was in his hand and placed it in the center of the table. Then the sphere became transparent, showing the fish to Mechikabura. Mikio said, "I don't know if you know this being here, Mechikabura, but he is the fish, a kind of prophet for the angels and god of destruction. There is one of him in each universe, and this is the 6th universe. Now that we are alone, I want you to talk about the prophecy you told me earlier. I want to hear it again," Mikio said while looking at the fish that was inside the small transparent sphere. The fish said, "I will never say anything to you. I prefer to die before giving information that you can use to destroy not only the 6th universe, but all the universes," said the fish while looking at Mikio, who soon raised his hand, and from it, red rays came out and hit the sphere, causing the fish to be electrocuted and screaming because of the pain in the process. Mikio said, "You will speak whether you like it or not, so speak at once and avoid feeling so much pain. And don't try to lie to us, because the sphere you are trapped in will get smaller each time, and speak lies. And when that happens, I will use my powers to hurt you, and be glad I'm the one doing this, and not Mechikabura, because he's much more brutal and more creative than me. Look how lucky you are," warned the Demon King Mikio while looking at the fish, who soon looked at Mechikabura, who had a sinister smile on his face, something that made the fish tremble in fear. Mechikabura said, "I hope you don't say anything to Mikio. I've been sealed in this world for a long time, and I haven't tortured anyone. And you don't know the amount of ideas that came to my mind at that moment, so please don't say anything to him, and let me torture you," the Demon King spoke while releasing a large amount of demonic energy, causing the fish to see a horn-type demon in the Demon King's shadow. The fish said, "I didn't get hurt. I'll tell you everything I know, and what I saw in my prophecies." The fish spoke while trembling in fear, something that made Mechikabura heave a sigh of disgust, because he really wanted to torture someone. Mikio said, "Then you can start. We're looking forward to hearing your prophecy about the future of our world and our people. And of course we want to know the future of our next king." Mikio spoke as he looked at the fish and had a few laughs when he saw Mechikabura's disgusted face. The fish spoke. "The child of an angelic deity with the mortal who holds the title of strongest and who reaches the level of an angelic deity will generate a child with such great power that he could be a threat to the Daishinkan himself. And he will be the one who will free the kingdom of darkness and will rule this world, becoming the greatest threat of all the universes. And by his side there will be a demon that, even not looking like it, will have great powers next to this boy," said the fish as he finished making his prophecy regarding Vados' future son with Goku. Mechikabura said, "Excellent. So it just goes to show that this child will be incredibly powerful and truly worthy of taking my throne as Demon King." The current Demon King spoke with a huge psychotic smile on his face that combined with his demonic aura that he released that gave his title of Demon King. Mikio said, "Glad this prophecy came that way. After all, I wouldn't want to have to train a failure. Just know that I'm going to train someone whose power will be able to face the High Priest head-on. And amazing. And the most surprising thing is the fact that apparently Toa will have great power alongside our future Demon King," spoke Mikio excitedly, with the fact that he would train someone very powerful. Mechikabura said, "Get ready, Mikio, because you will have to help my heir, who will inherit my desire for conquest, and he will accomplish what I never managed to do, to dominate all the 12 universes," spoke the Demon King while lavishing a gigantic smile on his face. In the world of demons. Currently in the world of demons, still in the palace of the King of Demons, more precisely in a dark room, it was possible to see Mikio sitting in the lotus posture, and in front of him was the fish, who looked at the demon who was super concentrated, until the fish started saying some things to the devil. The fish said, "I wonder why exactly someone as strong as you follows Mechikabura. I know he is the current Demon King, but he is already old, and you are not. You have such great strength that you would be able to defeat him in a mortal battle. So why serve him? Asked the Sixth Universe Prophet as he looked at Mikio, who then slowly opened his eyes and stared at the fish. Mikio said, "You are right in this regard. I'm stronger than Mechikabura currently, and if we both fight using all our strength, I would be the winner. But I would never do that. I would never kill the one who helped me survive," said the demon while looking at the Sixth Universe Prophet fish. The fish said, "The one who helped you survive? I don't understand your statement. How did Mechikabura help you survive?" asked the fish while looking at the demon in front of him, who just sighed lightly. Mikio said, "Many years ago when I was still a child, I was almost killed by my mother, and when I was close to death, Mechikabura found me and helped me. After he saved me, I promised that I would always serve him even though I have to die in the process. Now he's old, I can't betray him, and even when he dies, I will continue to serve him. That's why I'm so faithful to the new king of demons," said the demon Mikio while looking at the fish in front of him. The fish said, "So that's why even having the strength still serves Mechikabura, and for your loyalty to your master, you will serve the new king of demons," said the prophet fish of the Sixth Universe while looking at Mikio, who soon stopped the conversation and went back to meditating. The fish thought, so because of all this, he would never be able to go against Mechikabura's wishes, and because of that, I won't be able to change that demon's mind. The fish thought as he looked at the demon who had returned to meditate. In Universe 7. Currently in Universe 7, it was possible to see all of Goku's family along with Vegeta, Whis, Beerus, Champa, and Vados, who were sitting next to ChiChi, and both were in front of Goku, who was sweating cold. After all, the conversation between ChiChi and Vados had broken up, and Goku knew they had talked about him having a child with Vados. Goku thought, they were talking, and a few minutes ago I heard ChiChi screaming loudly. I'm sure I'll end up hearing ChiChi scolding me, and it's not my fault this time, the Saiyan thought as he looked at the two women in front of him who were looking at him seriously, something that only increased Goku's anxiety. Goku said, "So what was the decision you made, ChiChi?" asked the still apprehensive Saiyan to his wife, who at the moment she heard that question and got annoyed. ChiChi said, "So you already knew that Vados wanted to have a child with you, and you accepted?" the woman asked in an annoying tone, with her husband making him quite scared, and everyone in the place was gasping at Vados' request for Goku. Gohan said, "Dad, how did you accept something like that?" asked Goku's eldest son, who looked at him with a curious look. Goku said, "Wait a minute, I didn't accept anything actually. When Vados told me about it, I was quite shocked. But I made it very clear that I would only have a child with Vados if ChiChi, who is my wife, allowed it. If she doesn't allow it, I won't do anything, and I won't have any children. ChiChi is my wife and I would never cheat on her, ever," said the determined Saiyan while looking at his wife, who soon left her annoyed expression and changed to a calmer and happier one, that her husband thought of her before everything. ChiChi said, "I'm glad I didn't make a choice alone, and mostly I thank you for thinking about me before doing all this." The woman spoke in a softer tone, while Goku, who was in front of him, was more revealed to realize that his wife wouldn't hit him at that moment. ChiChi said, "And with the conversation with Vados, I made my decision regarding the subject of you having a child with her, and my answer is," said the woman, giving a dramatic pause, making everyone more anxious with the ChiChi's answer. And ChiChi said, "Yes, I allow you, Goku, to have a child with Vados. Normally I wouldn't allow such a thing, but what she told me ended up convincing me," said the woman while looking at Goku and the rest of his family, that upon hearing the words, everyone was shocked, especially Goku, who could now have his third child, only this time it would be a child who would have Vados as his mother. Goku said, "What? Are you really going to allow me to have a third child with Vados?" asked the Saiyan as he looked at his wife, who just gave a small sigh. ChiChi said, "Yes, I will. Apparently this child will be a great warrior of justice like Gohan, and if Vados doesn't have him, the Sixth Universe could go into great chaos, and that's why I will allow you, Goku, to have this child. But it will only be one," said the woman while looking at her husband and then at Vados, making it very clear that she will only have one child with the Saiyan. Vados said, "For me, this is enough. So Goku, what do you say? Can you give me your child?" said the angel while looking at the Saiyan, who was quite thoughtful about this matter. Goku said, "Well, I had previously said that if ChiChi allowed it, I could have a child with you. And as she already accepted, yes, I can give you my child, Vados," the Saiyan said while looking at the angel, who was super excited about the outcome of her plan to have a child with Goku turned out to be successful. Whis said, "Congratulations, my sister. And now, got you what you wanted. So much," said the angel as he approached his sister and gave the angel a hug, who was very happy with that. Vados said, Thank you so much, Whis. You don't know how happy I am to be able to have a child with Son Goku, and he will be the future. He will be the god of destruction of the 6th universe, being the strongest of all the universes. That I can say with 100% certainty, said the angel very happily while looking at her brother. Soon, all the people who were at the place started talking to each other, but among them Whis was still having a doubt if that could be a good thing or not. Whis thought, I'm happy for my sister, but something tells me that this child will bring gigantic chaos to all universes. I just hope I'm wrong about that, thought the angel as he watched his sister and Goku who was by his side. Further away from Goku's house up in a tree, it was possible to see a type of black cat with red eyes that soon disappeared in an explosion of shadows. Now in the world of demons. Currently in the demon world, in the very same dark room, it was possible to see Mikio looking at a sphere of red energy that was transmitting the vision of the black cat he had created with his powers and sent to watch over Goku and his family. Mikio thought, my plan worked out better than I thought. Now I just need to wait for some time. For a being like me, who has lived for thousands of years, to wait a few more days to finally be free is no big deal, thought the demon as he looked at the memories of his black cat, which was just a clone made of darkness and shadows who had exploded and disappeared from that location.